Hello, this is Dragon Tank 1400, and this is going to be my top 20 favorite fictional characters. And by fictional characters, I mean any character that's, from a work of fiction, from any media. It could be TV, cartoons, video games, comic books. I've never really read comic books, but a couple characters from comic books got in here. Also, movies, books, novels, and that kind of stuff. So any form of media. Now, I will say that most of these are cartoons, as that's what my main form of media coming from, that would really get my favorite characters is from cartoons. However, that being said, there are a few from books, a few from movies here, even from one from a sitcom, just one. So I mean, we got variety, some from video games too. I really enjoy video games. That being said, there are only one character from every franchise or from a series or whatever. For example, I have a character on here that's from Final Fantasy. This is only one from the whole Final Fantasy saga, even though it's different universes or whatever. I just only picked one. Same with Marvel and DC, only one from each respective universe. Even though there's the X from the Marvel, there's X-Men, Avengers, and that kind of stuff. However, I only picked one from the entire universe. I haven't really read any of the comics or read some of the stories. However, if I did Marvel, there would be actually a lot more characters in Marvel than just the one. That being said, I just wanted to keep it to one from each universe to really display more universes, more series, more shows on this list. Also, there are 0 main protagonists. Who would you consider the main character of that series or that show? None of them are on here at all. There are some characters that could be secondary protagonists on this list. I would consider them secondary, but there are no protagonists. I just personally don't like the protagonists as much as other characters. That's just me, and I know a lot of people when they watch a series, their favorite character is the protagonist. Me, the protagonist is usually either middle of the line or some of my least favorite characters. So none of them made the list. One almost made it, but they didn't. I kind of actually wanted to get that one off the list, so I kept thinking about things. And that being said, I probably missed a few things, a few characters that I really like from other shows that I just forgot about. However, that is kind of the way it goes sometimes. Also, depending on the length of this, I might do this in 2 parts. I haven't decided yet. I probably will, but it just depends how long it is. Anyway, time to get to my number 20. So my number 20 is a character from Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it might not be who you expect. Both Azula and Zuko are both very well developed characters. Sokka's a really good character too, one of my favorites. However, the character I picked was Ty Lee. Now, I really like Ty Lee really for her intro. You saw that she knew that Azula was kind of up to something. She didn't want to be involved in it. And she really saw that Azula was the one that kind of pushed her to join her, even though she didn't want to. She wanted to stay in the circus. She didn't even want Azula to watch because she knew Azula was up to something. Now, I wish they would have explored this more. Ty Lee's a character that you wouldn't from first glance seem that is very smart, but she's obviously very smart. And she was able to do that chi blocking thing, and I really enjoyed Sokka and Ty Lee flirt. I wish they would have actually got together for at least a bit in the series. I wish they would have ended up together, to be honest. There's so much more they could have done with Ty Lee, but they decided not to. That being said, I do really like her character. I really wish they would have done more. However, they didn't, and that's kind of why she's number 20. If they would have done more, talked about her sisters more. They did kind of in the comics, but I wish they would have done more with her character. They kind of put her a really far aside character for a while, so I don't know. So that's why she's number 20, not higher on the list. So my number 19 character is from How to Train Your Dragon, you know, and How to Train Your Dragon 2, but really she really shines. She shines in both of them, and that's Astrid. Oh, I'm not even gonna try to say her last name, but it's Astrid from How to Train Your Dragon. Now, there's a few things I would have done differently. The contrast of her change from like not liking dragons to being really accepted of dragons, there's too huge of a contrast. She pretty much does a 180 without really like explanation or anything like that. That being aside, you can tell there's like two very distinct things about her character, and that is she's really tough. Like, she's really in your face, but she also really cares about it, like her village, her friends, and stuff like that as well. So she can be very understanding and at times to characters and helping them out. But when you like challenge her friends or family or village, she really gets in your face about things. I really like that the two things that you wouldn't think would go together, but they do go together well with her character. And the, you know, romance aside, I didn't like how she just like kissed Hiccup like 2 times for like no, like she kissed him like for no apparent reason. Like, what the heck? Like, I don't know. I think they just added that in just to so they didn't have to develop the relationship as much as they would have liked. Anyway, I mean, should have, not would have liked, should have. So that's my number 19. That's Astrid from How to Train Your Dragon. So my number 18 is the only sitcom character, well, live action sitcom character on this list. Now, usually when I watch sitcoms, I watch a lot of sitcoms like That 70s Show, Seinfeld, Big Bang Theory, even Friends to an extent. And usually those shows, what I really like about it is really the character interaction, how the characters really mesh together. However, this character really stuck out to me in all those shows, and that's Mandy Baxter from Last Man Standing. I really like how she is personality-wise really like her dad, but when it comes to like their interests, they are like complete opposites. I really like that connection she could have with her dad because of their personalities. They're so much alike. They're both extreme extroverts. They're both type A personalities, center of attention type people. However, when it comes to their interests, they have a hard time connecting because neither of them like what the other one likes. I also like her when she interacts with her husband Kyle. Well, they date during the series, but it becomes her husband Kyle because Kyle is like a really nice guy. And at one point, when she even states that like Kyle would say he's lucky to have her, she actually states that she knows it's the other way around, that she's really fortunate to have Kyle in her life. And Kyle does kind of like change her, and she changes. She starts off as like the dumbest one, but she ends up starting her own business and stuff like that. And I think she succeeds. I really haven't like watched the last season that much, but now that is my number 18, Mandy Baxter from Last Man Standing. Now my number 17 is one that really is the first one on the last one on this list of the sort of underdog character type. Now what I mean by underdog is that they are going up against people and things that are just out of their league, and eventually they become something special and end up succeeding, if you will. Now that is Ron Stoppable from Kim Possible. Now I like his character a lot. He's funny, and the fact that he ends up with Kim Possible, who's this amazing fighter, and she saves the world and everything, and he helps her with that throughout like their missions and everything like that. He's always out of his league, but he ends up helping, but he has this like mystical monkey power. One of the reasons he's so low on this list, it would have been much higher, if he would have like trained more with his mystical monkey power before he like just unlocked it, just because he kind of got angry that that those aliens were defeating Kim Possible in the last episode. That being said, another thing that kind of keeps him at this far on the list is because there, especially in season 4, he does some of the same type of mistakes over and over again. I haven't watched the show in a while, so I can't really say with what episode, but he does sort of the same mistakes over and over again. It's just like, why can't he just learn? Why can't they develop his character and he learns from his mistakes and he actually grows? He doesn't grow much until like the final episode. I mean, he grows a little, but it just, for how much he's in the series, he should have grown so much more instead of making the same mistakes over and over again. That's why he's so low on the list, but I do like that he's like the underdog type character. And when you think of like underdog, at least when I think of underdog, I immediately go to like Ron Stoppable. Anyway, so Ron Stoppable from Kim Possible is my number 17. So my number 16 is a character from Dragon Ball Z. Now, there are a lot of like okay characters. Well, there's Vegeta and there's Gohan's okay, I guess. Piccolo's okay. But my favorite character from Dragon Ball Z is Crillon. Now, sort of the same reason as Ron Stoppable. He is the underdog. He is fighting out of his league so many times. And by the way, Dragon Ball Z has probably one of the worst power scaling of a series I have personally ever seen. Frieza really killed the power scaling, but that's a topic for another day. Anyway, Crillon is really strong, and people really underestimate him. His like official power level at the end of the Frieza arc is 75,000, which is almost twice as much as most of the Ginyu Force all the Ginyu Force executing Captain Ginyu, who had power levels of 40,000. Captain Ginyu had a power level of 120,000, and the Ginyu Force was considered some of the strongest people in the universe. So that being said, like, Crillon is extremely powerful, yet people underestimate him because the power scaling is in Dragon Ball Z is stupid. That being said, Crillon does fight with like strategy in the there's not much strategy that goes into Dragon Ball Z. If you compare it to like Naruto or even like One Piece, like particularly Naruto, like Dragon Ball Z isn't like very strategic, but Crillon does pull off some really good strategies, like fighting techniques against stronger villains like Frieza, like Nappa. Like there's a few others that he actually used like strategy to not necessarily overcome, but give him like an edge in that fight. And it's more seen in Dragon Ball Super when he fought Goku. He was using strategy for like a ring out, and when he fought Gohan too. So I really think I really like that he actually used strategy, and that he's like the underdog, but he's also one that actually does work hard too. And he fought like some powerful beings, and like his deaths in the series like mark some very critical times in Dragon Ball. When he died, like that's the first time Goku really took things really seriously. In Dragon Ball Z, he died and Goku became a Super Saiyan. So I mean, those are some really key moments. So Krillon's a very important character for Dragon Ball Z, and I really liked the whole Namek arc with him and Gohan going after the Dragon Balls. I just really like that concept between the two. So my number 16 is Crillon from Dragon Ball Z. So my number 15 is from Danny Phantom, and it is not really a well-developed character in my opinion. They could have done more with her, and that's a Jazz Phantom. Sorry, not Jazz Phantom, Jazz Fenton. Anyway, so I really like her as a character. I always did, but I always wish she it was in more episodes and she played more of a role. She has some key moments with Danny and their brotherly sisterly bond throughout the series. However, I do wish they would have had her developed character interactions with more characters, and maybe she started to hunt ghosts by herself, do something more. I just really like that concept that she like had she was always envious of ghosts because of her like parents always liking ghosts more, and she was kind of cast aside, though not completely. Now, the fact that she was able to help Danny and that she discovered Danny's powers before anyone else in the series, besides you know, Danny's two friends, and some ghosts as well, who Danny pretty much revealed his identity to. Jazz discovered it, and she helped Danny out. She covered for Danny like for a big part of the series until Danny figured out that Jazz already knew. And I really like that concept that she was always there for her brother and everything. And they, like I said, they could have done way more with her character. And I kind of just I kind of like what they could have done with her character, but I also like what they did with her character as well. Anyway, so that's number 15, Jazz Fenton from Danny Phantom. So my number 14 is from the DC universe. Now, that doesn't narrow it down at all. However, I really like this character in the Flash TV series, and that is Killer Frost, aka Caitlin Snow. Now, Caitlin Snow is an okay character. The actress doesn't really play Caitlin that well, but she does play Killer Frost amazingly. You can tell she's having so much fun playing Killer Frost, being that evil villain. Now, what I like about this particular like universe is like dealing with Killer Frost and Caitlin Snow is that they're kind of, Killer Frost isn't necessarily a bad guy. They're kind of combining Killer Frost with Caitlin Snow, if you will. She's not a bad guy, but she's not necessarily that good either. Well, she is, but she's more like in between. But she's more on the good side, if you will. And I really like that. And plus, the ice powers are, well, no pun intended, but cool, if you will. I do like characters who have ice powers. Whenever I play an RPG and there's ice magic involved, that's the magic I always go to, unless it's like completely nerfed, which a lot of times it is, but that's the magic I most enjoy. That's the powers I really like ice powers. I don't know why. Anyway, so that whole thing, and right now in the series they haven't really, Killer Frost, Caitlin just became like Killer Frost really, and she just kind of accepted it, and I really want to see her like develop her powers and move forward as a character that we're gonna really see like kind of hopefully next season. So depending on what they do with her next season is gonna, she might not even be on this list. Another character from DC might replace her, but I really like the kind of that potential that she really has. And I really liked her in like the last season as well. I think the actress who plays Caitlin did a really good job with Killer Frost. I really like it, and I really like that struggle she's having between Killer Frost's like darker side and Caitlin Snow's like moral side. I really like that conflict within her. So that is number 14. Killer Frost, aka Caitlin Snow, from the DC universe, particularly from the Flash TV series. So my number 13 is from the Star Wars universe, particularly from Star Wars The Clone Wars. Now, I almost picked Obi-Wan for this list for the whole like Star Wars universe thing. However, though I really like Obi-Wan, he would have probably made this list for sure if I would have included more. I like Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars The Clone Wars better. Now, I don't really like her that much in Rebels. I sort of do. However, in Star Wars The Clone Wars, you got to see her grow. She started off kind of annoying and everything, but she became this Jedi Knight. Well, she didn't become a Jedi Knight, but she became this warrior. She became experienced. And I really, really enjoy the ending of Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 5, where Ahsoka is accused of murdering some people, and she's on the run. That's some of my favorite scenes of like all of cinema, really, is her escaping, and people have made like some music videos on it of her escaping and everything, and fighting off all the clone troopers. And I watched those music videos on it. It's that good that it's just an amazing sequence. And like the voice actress who plays her did a great job, amazing job in that episode. Like, and you really get to see Ahsoka's turmoil, that she doesn't want to be. She didn't commit the crime, and she's not going to take the blame for a crime she didn't commit. So she's trying to figure out who it is and everything. And it's like they got not the stormtroopers, but the clone troopers chasing her, and Anakin's there, and her and Anakin have a slight conversation about it, and the whole sequence is just really well done. I really like that moment. I also really like some moments where Ahsoka's like more in a teaching role towards the later end of the series, where she's like with younglings and everything, and she like kind of sacrificed herself to save them. I really like how much they see how much they show that Ahsoka has grown throughout the series of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I really like her character development. I think it's really well done, and all leads up to that climactic moment at the end of season 5, and it's just really, really well done. So that is my number 13, Ahsoka Tano from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Now, my number 12 is from Wreck-It Ralph. Now, this is one that you can consider, she's not a protagonist, but she's like a secondary protagonist, and that's Vanellope Von Sweets. I think that's how you say her name. Anyway, this character, I started off really annoying character, and I didn't like her, but throughout the movie, you really get to see kind of who she is, and kind of how caring she is, really. And you really get to see that character get developed, get formed into like this amazing character. Yeah, she can still be annoying and everything. However, she can also be, well, very sweet and very caring towards Ralph. And that whole scene where Ralph destroys the car, like really her hope of getting a better life, if you will, it's heartbreaking. And then at the end scene, like I almost shed tears at the end scene all the time, where Vanellope and Ralph are like just talking, and Vanellope's like, you can stay here and no one will ever like make fun of you again or whatever. And Ralph kind of accepts his position as a bad guy. He says it's not like a it's not really a great job, but it's his job or whatever. So I thought it was really, like, she's a really funny character too, and just a really amazing character developed. And that's my number 12, Vanellope Von Sweets from Wreck-It Ralph. So my number 11 is from Hey Arnold, and there's a few different characters from Hey Arnold that I like. I really do like Rhonda, which is probably one that people don't like that much. However, the character that really shined for me, and every time I watch her episodes, which there are a lot of them, and especially her episodes involving Arnold, I just love those episodes. And that's Helga G. Bataki from Hey Arnold. Now, Helga's episodes where like she's really worried about Arnold figuring out that she likes him, and she does these crazy things to try to get the tape or the bird or whatever to make sure like Arnold doesn't figure it out. Yeah, those are just some of the funniest, best episodes in the series, in my opinion. I really like Helga's character. Like, she does these like very bizarre things. She has a really bad home life too. Like, her mom's an alcoholic. Her dad is like a beeper king who doesn't pay attention to her. They both her parents, like her sister, her older sister, like a million times better. In a lot of ways, like Helga was like the best developed character in that series, and more so than Arnold. Arnold, though the show is called Hey Arnold, and I think Arnold's like in every episode and Helga's not. Helga really like shined above Arnold and above the rest in terms of character development, and like just seeing her like struggle with her feelings with Arnold. It's just, I mean, there's some episodes where she like, why can't Arnold actually get it? He's really smart, but he doesn't understand that Helga actually likes him. So I really like that concept, and I really like Helga's character. So that's my number 11, Helga G. Pataki from Hey Arnold. So if I decide to make a cut, it's going to be right here. I think I'm leaning towards making this like an hour video. Anyway, so my number 10 is from Naruto. Now, Itachi Uchiha almost made this spot. However, I like Sesshomaru Nara. I don't even think I'm saying his name right. A little more than Itachi. And that's because Sesshomaru has that concept that he's a lazy genius. He has that like flaw where Itachi doesn't really seem to have like a flaw like that. And because I kind of stopped watching it right when Itachi became important again, and I kind of just like went in and out of the series. It's a long series, so anyway, the reason I like Sesshomaru is because his IQ is over 200, very smart. It's kind of a similar reason why I like Crillon, is that he's a lot of times fighting people that are like kind of out of his leagues in terms of power, but he outsmarts them. Now it's more so than that, because he really outsmarts them in terms of intelligence. He is probably the smartest character besides his dad and maybe Itachi in the entire Naruto series. That being said, he like outthinks his opponent. He like thinks way ahead of steps. He has like 50 moves planned ahead, all this stuff. I mean, he's an extremely smart character, and at the same time, like, he also is lazy. He ends up growing out of this laziness, and his character develops. That being said, like, he starts off as this lazy genius. Like, he has really bad grades because he doesn't want to like take any tests, but at the same time his IQ is over 200, so he could easily take the test, but he's just lazy. But he grows out of this laziness, and he becomes like a really hard worker. So that is my number 10, Sesshomaru Nara. I actually think I said it right that time, from Naruto. So my number 9 is from the Marvel Universe. This character is from X-Men, and there's 2 other characters that would have made this list from Marvel, at least 2, if I didn't have that inclusion of only 1 per universe. Those 2 characters are Kitty Pryde, aka Shadowcat, and Kurt Wagner, aka Nightcrawler. Those 2 characters almost made the list. However, this one just beat them out. These are my 3 favorite characters from Marvel, and that is Rogue, aka Anna Marie, from Marvel's X-Men. Now, I really like Rogue. Her whole concept of not being able to touch anyone, she can't really form any close romantic relationships with anyone, is really striking. Her powers are amazing. She touches someone, she gains their abilities. So she is one of the most powerful, potentially one of the most powerful mutants in the entire X-Men Marvel universe. And they come in drawbacks, like she can't touch anyone, and she can't and I think that if I remember right, like, she actually gains a part of their memory, so if there's too much, she can't like handle all their memories and stuff, so she starts to develop multi-personalities, I believe. I never read the comics. However, like I was introduced to this character, X-Men Evolution. That X-Men Evolution introduced me to like Marvel and DC. Like, it really introduced me to the whole like comic book universe, if you will. And that's kind of why I like Kitty and Nightcrawler as well so much. And I really just like seeing her handle with her powers, like the drawbacks of her powers, and you know, the potential of her power. I just really like Rogue as a character, that like conflict within herself, if you will. So that's my number 9, Rogue, aka Anne-Marie from Marvel's X-Men. My number 8 is from the Legend of Zelda series, particularly from Twilight Princess, and that is Midna. Midna is arguably the most well-developed character from the Legend of Zelda universe. Now, I haven't played through Skyward Sword or the new one that I can't remember its name, because that I kind of grew apart from console gaming after like the PS2 and GameCube and went to PC gaming. But that being said, I really like Midna. It's probably one of Link's best traveling companion, and she has this amazing character development arc where at first she's just out for herself and she's gonna use Zelda and Link to get what she wants and doesn't really care about them, and then over time Link and Zelda's actions, selfless actions towards Midna, change her heart to the point where she actually sacrifices herself to save them. Now she comes back, but she sacrifices herself to save them, which is a really like it's really well developed in how they do it story wise. Like, it's built. It's not like a 180 switch. It's a we're going to develop it over time kind of thing throughout the whole game, if you will. And I really like that. Like you get to see like when I replay Zelda, I will just talk to Midna in different places just to see what she says, just because I'm that interested in that character. I really like her character, and she is definitely a highlight of the Twilight Princess, of Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, that I think most people who like Zelda would agree that she is even people who don't like Twilight Princess would agree that she is a great character. Anyway, so that's my number 8, Midna from the Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. So this is my second game on the list, and really I only have 2 games on this list, and that's Zelda, and then this one is from the Final Fantasy universe, particularly from Final Fantasy VI, which is, in my opinion, the best Final Fantasy game. It's definitely the one with the best story, and I really like it for all the characters as well. But the best character, in my opinion, is Locke Cole from Final Fantasy VI. Now, Locke has a very sad backstory dealing with kind of almost the love of his life. Well, his past love of his life, in that she kind of sacrifices herself to save him, but she ends up just losing her memory, and she doesn't remember Locke, and her dad doesn't like Locke, so he kicks him out, and he just leaves her for a while. She gains her memory back and wants to speak to Locke, but when he comes back, she actually dies, and then he has her body preserved for creepy reasons. Not really creepy reasons, just because he loved her, and that really drives his character in really what's her name, Sysis, or his other love interest, who plays the opera role in that game. And then there's also Terra, that he will protect any woman no matter what, basically. That's like a driving force for him as well. So he ends up like, I haven't really finished the game yet, to be honest. I'm working through it as I do this video, but he does have another love interest, and I like to see his character like grow like that. And also, he's a thief, and in Final Fantasy games, whoever the thief character is the one I always have on my team, because they get to steal and gain more items from opponents. They are, in my opinion, the best. They are my favorite character type in those kind of games, in the Final Fantasy genre. So that's my number 7, Locke from Final Fantasy VI. So my number 6 is from Kung Fu Panda. Now there's a lot of characters in Kung Fu Panda, but my favorite would have to be Oogway. Now Oogway is the only like master type character, like mentor type character on this list. There's a few others that almost made it, like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, there's a few characters that almost made it. However, Oogway, I mean, he's up here at number 6. I like him the best. And the reason I like him the best is because he is like, he's a great teacher. He tells, first of all, he tells his like students kind of what they need to hear, and then his actions of disappearing at a critical time where it actually helped Poe and Master Shifu out the most into learning to like kind of, Master Shifu actually learned inner peace and Poe learned how to fight. It really helped them out the most of him disappearing at a critical time, because he could easily stopped the bad guy. I can't even remember at this point. It's been a while since I watched the movie. However, Oogway is just like, I mean, he's a big turtle guy. He's slow, but he is a kung fu master in more than one way. Like, he was able to teach Master Shenfu and Poe like the lessons they needed to learn at the right time. So it was he was a great character. He just an amazing character. And that's my number 6, Oogway from Kung Fu. So my number 5, well, for those who've been watching my All Grown Up reviews, which is probably most of my audience here, they were expecting this and waiting, but Kimmy Finster from All Grown Up is my number 5, and yes, she made it to the top 5. That's how much I like her character. And what I really like about her is that her parents got divorced, and kind of them like showing like a little bit how she's dealing with that as time goes on. And that's where I really relate to her. My parents got divorced, and I've stated this before when I talked about Kimmy, but as a character, I relate to her like probably the most. I relate to her more than anyone else on this list by far. And that's because her like parents got divorced, and she has to like deal with this and everything, and stuff comes up, and they have like 2 episodes kind of focused on it a little bit. So I really enjoy her character. I wish they would have done more with her. Like, they put in like her liking aminos and that kind of stuff, but I wish they would have done more with her character. She only really has character development, like big character development, in 3 episodes throughout the entire series, which is a shame. So she's one of those characters that I wish they would have done more with, but I really relate to, and there's so much there that they could have done, and I wish they would have done. However, what they did do with that character is great, and those episodes I think I all got 10s out of 10s when I reviewed them, just because I really enjoyed her character. Anyway, so that's my number 5, Kimmy Finster from All Grown Up. So my number 4 is from One Piece. And this character has a character type of being like the underdog and being smart. Has come up a few times already on this list. And that is Usopp from One Piece. Usopp is that he's a goofball, he's funny, but at the same time, like, he's an amazing sniper. And he fights, like if you think about like the characters he fights are characters that have weird, bizarre powers that even like Zoro and Luffy would struggle with if they weren't aware of their powers. So that really does give Usopp kind of an edge, in that he's able to deal with people that others can't deal with really. And I really like that he's gonna become like the best sniper out of in the One Piece world. And I really like that concept of him sniping, and he's one of those characters who thinks about how to solve his beat his opponent. his strategy goes above like his like just physical strength. So I really like how how thinks his opponent as well. And I mean, the only thing is that I wish he was braver in the second half of One Piece. However, like, they're going to develop that, and he's become a brave warrior of the sea by the end, for sure. And he definitely has some brave moments as well. But that's my number 4, Usopp from One Piece. So my number 3 is from The Lord of the Rings. Now, I almost put Aragon on this list in place of like the one that is on this list. He's an amazing character and everything. However, I had to give it to Samwise Gamgee. I think that's how you say it. Anyway, Sam is really he's kind of the heart of the journey at least Frodo goes on. He's the one that keeps Frodo going through that as Frodo is struggling with the ring. And even at the end of the journey, Frodo doesn't actually throw. Well, I've read most of the Lord of the Rings. I just haven't finished it. And the reason I haven't finished Lord of the Rings, before anyone comments or whatever, is because I'm reading it and then like something comes up and I stop reading for a while and then I'm like, oh, I gotta reread the whole thing again, and then the same thing keeps happening. So maybe I should just start where I left off and just go from there, but I kind of want to read it from front to back in one, not in one sitting, but in one like time frame where there's no like huge gaps. But that being said, at least in the movies, like Frodo doesn't like throw the ring, even though Sam's telling him, just throw it, destroy the ring, everything. And at the end, I really like that scene where Sam carries Frodo. He's like, I can't carry the ring, but I can carry you. And it's just like Sam really is the heart and like soul of like that journey, of the whole journey leading up to it. He's the one that keeps things going. He's the one that is really the hero of the series, where Frodo it was too weak. Sam was the one that gave Frodo strength. So I really like that. Samwise is a great character and definitely deserves this spot. At first I had him a lot lower, but I moved him all the way up to number 3 because that's how much I enjoy this character. It's just an amazing character, and that's my number 3, Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings. So my number 2 is Jean Arc from Ruby. Now, I like Jean for kind of the same reasons why I like Usopp, like Crillon, Ron Stoppable, is that he's an underdog. Now, Jean is kind of the ultimate underdog towards the beginning of the series. He has never been in a fight, like, ever, and yet he performs more strategically, and he is a better leader. He has more leadership qualities than the other 7 characters there at the beginning of the series. That is saying a lot. That's saying that Jean has some really amazing, like, just natural qualities of strategy, being strategic, and leadership qualities. That he is just a natural born leader and a natural born strategist. That is amazing. Now, he develops this over time as well, and he gets stronger and better, and he's able to fight. In season 4, he actually did fight pretty well, in my opinion. He's up there with them now, if you will. But he also worked really hard training with Priya to get to that point, and training by himself afterwards. That he's actually up there, that he kind of rose the ranks. And that's what I really like about Jean. Now, that being said, Jean also is a character that it's been hinted at that there's something special about him. Something amazingly special. Now, we don't know what it is yet, but that is really, really good. And I really like that to see that he had to work hard to get to this point, and maybe when they find out what's so special about him, that he'll work hard to like master master whatever that is too. Like John has like pretty much almost my perfect character traits that I like to see in a character, like in a show like Ruby. And that's, at first he starts off as like the underdog, a character that we as the audience relate to, that doesn't really have any special abilities, that's normal, but is also strategic. He's smart. He actually thinks about his action, plans ahead, and sees his opponent's weakness and uses it to his advantage. And that he works hard to improve his skills. So that's what I really like in a character. That's why he's my number 2, and that's my number 2 spot, Jean Arc from Ruby. Now my number 1, I don't see this character pretty much ever moving out of number 1 spot. This has been my number 1 for actually a really long time, and that is Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter. Now, Luna comes into the series on book or movie 5. I read all the books and I watched all the movies, and she comes in and like as a breath of fresh air for the characters. Now, Voldemort was just released in book 4, which by the way is my least favorite. Now, I know people love book 4, but I hate it, and maybe one day I will talk about it, but not right now. But Voldemort was just released. Things got like so much darker. The Ministry's against them. Umbridge is like this cruel person. But Luna comes in to really lighten the mood when everything got dark. She is a breath of fresh air, and on top of all that, she actually connects to Harry in ways that no other character did or could do, in that she experienced the loss of a parent. She relates to Harry on that, and she actually talks about it, seeing death, seeing the I can't remember what those horse things are called, Thrastros or something like that. Luna comforts Harry when Sirius dies, something no one else does, and she is just an amazing character. Like, she's there for Harry, and honestly, if you read the books and watch the movies and stuff, like there's hints that she might have a thing for Harry. Harry doesn't notice this, of course, but that being said, I do think that Harry and Luna should have ended up together but didn't, but that's beyond the point. I do like Luna Lovegood as a character. What she adds to the series is something that is absolutely needed, and that's a breath of fresh air, someone to really lighten the mood, if you will, without necessarily being comical. She lightens the mood just by being herself. Just she's very cheerful. I mean, I couldn't really imagine being around Luna and not smiling. She's just that amazing character, and I don't see any character ever replacing Luna in the number 1 spot of top 20 fictional characters. I just don't see it ever happening. In my mind, she was like perfectly added at the right time, and on top of all that, the actress who plays her in the movies does an extremely good job. Well done on that. So, like, that's why Luna is my number 1 character. Luna Lovegood from Harry Potter is my number 1 fictional character, and no other character in my eyes, fictional character, tops her. Anyway, so that's my top 20 favorite fictional characters, really. And in the comments below, maybe list your top 20 or favorite fictional character of all time. And if your like favorite fictional character didn't make the list, it might be because I did never watch the show, or I like this other character better than that. I mean, this is just my personal list. So you know, if you have a list, then make your own video. Anyway, and I would actually like to see that. So see more like top 20 like fictional characters. I would actually really like to see that for more people. Anyway, Thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Bye.